everybody. Welcome to Chem for second semester. I'm glad you survived, made it through the first semester. Now we're on to semester two. So the purpose of this little video here is to kind of give you an overview of kind of the semester in general, where we're going, and then to give you a little bit of a look at lead you through this first little mini unit that we've got here for these for week one here in semester two, just so you have some idea what the assignments are. So second semester, what we got going on, we're going to kind of well, how are we going to say this? We've got a variety of different things to do, as usual. My goal here is to try to sort of keep some of the things that we've been doing in terms of we'll still have some standards. I'll try to trim them down kind of like I've done in the past so that we don't have maybe necessarily every single thing that we're doing. Trying to balance, that work and the home life thing is kind of tough, but I want to make sure that the class experience that you get from here is real chemistry, that when you get done with this class, you've learned something, that it's not just, whatever, that was a waste of a time and just, kind of wipe it away. So my goal is to make sure that I don't waste your time, that you being here, you have an opportunity to really learn something. Now, I know for a fact that a lot of people will and have already shown me that they're like ready to work really hard and try to make sure that you're getting as much out of this as you can. And then some people are going to just kind of hang in there and just try to make it through to the end. And that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that particular process. Everyone has different goals. Just try to make sure that you keep your goals in mind for yourself as you're progressing through the second semester. So, if you're going to be a science major, if you're looking at medical careers or health related careers, anything along those lines, it's probably more important for you to try to stay focused as best you can and try to get as much out of this as you can. If you're going to take Chem 2 eventually, don't worry. I know that Chem 2 is going to be a little weird for a couple of years because of this particular semester, but that'll be a way to practice that. So even if you're, wanting to go into that and you're feeling like, man, I don't know if I got enough out of this class, that's okay. We got you. But what you want to avoid is just that, just do the minimum and walk away. Try to do the best you can with trying to be intellectually on. And then for the rest of you guys, if you're just trying to get a science credit and get out of here, we have a pass and a credit option that goes along with that too. And I understand that. So most important thing is going to be to make sure that with due dates and deadlines and whatever else is going on, that you communicate. I know that people's lives are very different right now, that everyone's got crazy circumstances. Some of you are having to take care of brothers and sisters. Some of you guys are having to work. Some of you guys don't, have more than one open outlet in the house, and everyone else is competing for the kitchen table and the bandwidth and all that stuff. Communicate. I care about you guys. Talk to me. If there's something that you need, let me know. If it's time, if it's whatever. The one thing that's really hard for me is when students just sort of disappear. I just don't hear from them at all. A deadline comes and goes and I don't see anything, or there's an assessment that's posted and I hear nothing. Just communicate. I'm not going to judge you. There's nothing good, bad, or different. Everyone is different. Let's make sure to just talk. Tell me what's going on. You don't have to tell me like juicy details or anything like that, but say, hey, yeah, stuff's rough right now. I need a little bit of time. Whatever, we can figure it out. I can help you strategize to get what you need out of the course in the most time and knowledge efficient ways possible. That's my job. That's what I do. Let me help you. Just don't vaporize. So anyway, with what we got going on, second semester, we've got a variety of different things. We're going to do the first couple units a little bit out of order. So we're going to, right now, these first 4 days, Monday through Thursday this week, we're going to pick up standard 8D. It was one that we didn't do right before break just because of time. So we're going to kind of pick up that one. So we're going to be all about, this one's about double displacement reactions, specifically precipitation reactions. And then I need to warn you, this is where it becomes mathy again. So this is where we need to be a little bit, hang on. The unit that we're going to do next, we're going to go back and get chapter 6. We didn't go do that. And it has to do with something called the mole concept, which is a really key math concept in chemistry. Allows us to do chemistry with masses, with quantities, as opposed to just writing, equations on the page kind of thing. So you will need a calculator and access to that kind of stuff for chapter 6. It's definitely mathy. It also comes back and does dimensional analysis. So that's why I was teaching you that stuff earlier. Things like sig figs and stuff like that come back a little bit. But that's where we'll have to do, I'll repost some of the review videos that's in there. But that's chapter 6. So that's next week, or starting this Friday, actually. So, fasten your seatbelts a little bit, but, time for some math. You'll feel like you're learning something, I promise. And then after chapter 6, we're going to do chapter 9. So we just did 7 and 8. We're kind of done with that. We're going to go back and do 6 and then 9. So it's a little bit out of order, but it's fine. And chapter 9 combines the math that we do in chapter 6 with the balanced equations that we do in chapter 7 and 8. So it really brings those two ideas together, and it'll allow us to predict quantities of chemical reactions. Like these particular reactions we're doing right now, precipitations, we're going to say we're going to make a solid, we're going to make a precipitate. Well, after we're done with chapter 6, you'll be able to tell me how much precipitate will you make. So anyway, that's kind of where we're going. That's chapter 9. After that, we're going to do kind of a variety of things. I was looking at it. We're going to do pretty much weekly units, and I think I have it kind of planned out in a way that sort of makes sense. We're going to do, some chapter 9 stuff, like I said, which is kind of that quantitative stuff. And then as we get in towards this will actually be the end of May by the time we're getting into here, it'll be stuff like get back into the concept of bonding. So electrons and electron configurations, and then we'll get into building some molecules and figuring out how molecules go together, and then molecule shapes and some of that kind of stuff. And then pretty close to the end, we're going to come back and revisit solutions, and then acids and bases, and that's kind of where we'll be into June. So we've got a couple of sort of big themes that we do. It's definitely shorter. It's less than we would normally do if we were together. And the lab situation is going to be a little bit different, obviously, but we'll do our best and make it work somehow. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll make it work. So anyway, that's kind of the overview. It'll definitely be weekly themes, it'll be weekly units, and I'm going to keep up with the posting things on Friday and having things due on the following Thursday. I will probably do a few more of the little kind of quiz questions, sort of like the question of the day kind of thing. I won't do it every day, but to try to kind of give you an excuse to sort of log in and check your computer every day. So don't be surprised when I start posting those up. I'll do a couple in this unit, and I'll get more regular with it in the second week of the semester. So anyway, precipitation reactions is where we are. So on the screen, I'm pretty sure that you should be able to see this first unit, these first 4 days. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week. We will have an assessment on Friday this week. So just kind of warn you ahead of time so you know what that is. But here's what our first assignment is. So let's take a look at kind of what's in here. So first things first, down at the bottom, you've got the video lessons for this particular term. It's these two standards. It's standard 8D, and there's two parts to it. Part 1 is precipitation reactions in general and goes through the concept of like solubility and how do you know if a solid forms or if it doesn't. And then the second one, part 2, is more the nitty-gritty part about writing these kind of very technical sorts of chemical equations. It's going to be really important for those of you that have been sort of kind of coasting past. This is one of those close attention to detail kind of chapters. So that's what these two sections are. It kind of breaks it down. And I know they're a little bit longer because it's a lot of me like walking you through it. So pace yourself, give yourself some time, get a snack, get yourself comfy, find a cat, whatever you got to do. But then you will probably want to take notes on these. And that's one of the ways that you can participate, even if you can't come to the in-person meetings, if we do a couple of those this week, is that you can get some participation points by taking notes from those videos and then giving me a picture of the notes and showing me that you're kind of intellectually engaged that way. But again, you'll probably want to take some notes. You probably want to hit pause, maybe rewind, replay. This is fairly technical information. This is assuming that you've got some practice doing chemistry and that you've been learning all along. If you've been lost, it's okay. There's still chances for you in here. So don't worry about it, and just kind of make sure that you're checking into that. Okay, so along those lines, what if you're lost? I also put up here, you'll see this one that says review videos. These are optional. These are ones that have already been posted earlier this year, but you're welcome to go back and use these. I just put them here so that they're a little bit easier to find. So it goes back even to 4C, which is about writing names and formulas for polyatomic ions, because I know that's still just a difficult topic for some people. If you didn't get this back in 4C, you're probably still feeling really lost about it. I also put the 7C in there, which we just did recently about balancing equations, because you do have to do that skill in here. And then I also put in here the 8E, the types of reactions in here. Really the only one you care about is the double displacement reaction, so you can kind of fast forward through most of the 8E video. But again, those are just optional. Those are there for you to see. Just in case you want to go back and review something. I wanted to make it easier. You don't have to like scroll down on Google Classroom. Okay, other stuff you need. I'm going to be putting up some of the other materials on here. Here is the assignment. There's the standard. So that's one of those typical kind of notebook docs. It's just a single standard. So there isn't, a ton of different things to do. We've only got a couple of days and it's fairly technical. So that's why I want to make sure we just had one standard to focus on. And this is all about writing and balancing these chemical equations. So you can kind of see the standard up top. I can predict the outcome of chemical reactions between two solutions and represent the balanced equations in ionic and net ionic form. So you haven't seen this type of equation type yet, and that's what I'm going to teach you in the videos that come up. For part 1, there is this big assignment that's in here, and this is the big thing that you're going to do, and that'll give you most of the 3.0. Most of it. That's by far going to be the biggest amount of work that you have to do is this assignment right here. So that's the one where you want to pace yourself. You can work with a partner if you want to. Just make sure you very clearly state who you're working with. None of this copying and pasting crap like you guys were pulling on the last unit where you just magically appear a completely done assignment in 30 seconds. I don't think so. So again, you can work together is fine, but don't cheat. Make sure that you're very clear with who you're working with. I notice these things. Part 2, you do need to do something a little bit beyond what's in that other assignment. So after you've done this assignment, then I want you to just kind of summarize. What are these 3 kinds of equations? There's molecular equations, there's complete ionic, and there's not ionic equations. So what are they? And then kind of why are they? Why do we bother writing them 3 different ways? It's a chemistry thing. If you don't care about chemistry, this will be like boring. But there is reasons for all these in there, and I will explain it in one of the walkthroughs. So you'll be able to see what this is. So anyway, for the 3.0 part 2, you do have to write some stuff in here. But the activity, if it's done, that will all already have seen that. And then if you want the 3.5 and the 4.0, again, those are optional for you. You can explain why precipitates aren't separated. You'll know what that means after you start doing it. And then you can look at acid-base reactions if you want to. Again, it's a little bit above and beyond what we're doing. So there's the 8D standard. Again, it's just the one, and that's a typical document. Most of what you're going to do is in this assignment right here. So you can see this assignment right here, which says writing equations or writing ionic equations. This assignment is kind of a beast. It's not the easiest thing to do. This is what the videos are sort of kind of leading you towards, is sort of picturing what this is. And I will post some other sort of support videos that go along with this. We'll also have a lab activity that will go along with this as well. So I'll explain that one in just a second because it's not posted up yet. So this thing is a little bit similar to a previous one that we did, where the first page of this assignment is a walkthrough. It's done. It's an example completely worked out step by step by step to kind of show you how to do this. The way that this works is, if you take a look at, imagine what this is, that the black part would have been presented to you in the problems down below. Okay, I'm going to scroll down so you can kind of see what the other assignments look like as soon as it starts loading up. So here's what the actual your part of the assignment looks like. It looks like this. Where it's got some kind of a pair of reactants, like this one is sodium sulfide and nickel sulfate, nickel 2 sulfate. So you've got these two are presented, and it's going to ask you to write the names of the products, write the unbalanced molecular equation, the balanced molecular equation, and then these 2 weird ionic styles of equations. So you can kind of see what the assignment looks like. So now I'm going to scroll back. This first one is completely walked through for you, and I will post a video of this as well. But there is the complete set of steps of kind of like how to do it so that you've got something to go back and refer to. So the black is what would be there in the assignment, the problems that you'll be doing yourself. The pink is the answer. That's what needs to be done or added to. Like in some of these, you're only adding to an answer, something along those lines. So you can kind of see what that piece is. But that's what the pink part is kind of like the changes that are in there or what the answers would be. And then the blue is kind of a narrative of what the steps are. And it kind of gives you some prompting for how to approach finding what that answer is. So if you look carefully, and this is an intellectual skill that gets used a lot in distance learning types of programs, is that if you're looking through this, don't just let your eyes kind of scroll over the top and just kind of have it all be blurry. You want to be kind of mentally working along with it. Like, okay, how do I figure out what the products are going to be? Okay, do this, switch the first and last names. Okay, predict the products. Got it. And then you can see what they are. And then here's the unbalanced molecular. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're trying to write the molecular. It looks like just a regular balanced equation, or it's unbalanced. So there's the formulas. And then you can kind of see the prompts are written there to kind of help you along with it. So that's the key point, is to kind of be looking sort of critically at what those are. And not just kind of like reading through it because you won't remember it. You've got to kind of have that mind engaged. But like I said, there's a complete, full, worked out example up there. And then down here below, you need to do 2 of these. So with these ones, they're given to you in symbol form already, pardon me. The chemical formulas are already there, and you have to write, figure out what the names of the products are, write the unbalanced and then the balanced equations like you're used to, and then you'll need to kind of listen to those lessons about what are complete ionic and net ionic equations, and you're going to work on writing those. You need to pick 2 of these. Pick any 2 that you want. There's 4 of them to choose from. I don't care which ones you pick. Then down below, there's 2 more to do. So it's a total of 4 on this assignment. I know it's not, you've got several days to do this, but it's not a quick activity. There's a lot of little things that you got to do on this one. This is now given to you more as like a story problem as opposed to written in reaction format. So here it just says, aqueous solutions of potassium iodide and silver nitrate are mixed. Again, with these, there are 4. You need to pick 2 of them. I don't care which 2 you pick. You may do a third one for extra credit if you wish, and that says that up there as well. But you're going through the same process as you did up above. I'm just letting you kind of do it in your own format. Then there is a last problem. So you're going to do a total of 5 for this particular entire assignment. And this one says, explain why there is no reaction in the following when you combine solutions of ammonium phosphate and sodium sulfate. Tell me why there's no reaction for this. You can start by writing out what the balanced equation is, and then hopefully you'll kind of start to see why there isn't a reaction for this. In blue at the very end, it explains what the final assessment is. So this is coming up on Friday. The performance assessment is going to have 2 problems, very much like what this worksheet is like. In one of the problems, it's going to be a precipitate will form, and I'm going to have you go through those steps. You're going to write the balanced molecular equation, the complete ionic, and the net ionic equation. One of them is going to be kind of like number 10 there, where there's no reaction to it. It won't say which one has the reaction, which one doesn't. You'll have to make that decision. But one of them will be a reaction, one of them will be no reaction, and you'll need to be able to kind of tell me how you got there. So that's what the assessment is going to be like. It's literally 2 questions, but they're not short questions. So there's 2 questions. And then you will be asked, and you can kind of see it's underlined right here. You'll be asked to kind of explain how you did that. This is to help prevent the copy and paste aspect of this. But this is just like, well, how did you get there? What was some of the thinking that you went through as you got the molecular equation? What was some of the thinking that you went through as you balanced it? How did you know if it was balanced? What was some of the thinking you went through as you identified what the precipitate was? So again, it's not meant to be super hard, but it is meant to make sure that you're kind of showing me what's inside your head, not just showing me the answers, because the little cut and paste aspect of the answers is a little too easy for some of y'all. So the explaining part's a little bit more of in your own words. So there you go. Now you know kind of what the assessment's going to be like. The other piece of information you use, again, this is your big assignment. This is the big thing that's going to go along with this. So again, it's a total of 5 problems, right? There are 2 from the first part that are given to you in formula form. There are 2 from the second part that are given to you more in story form. And then there's the last one, which is the no reaction and explaining how you know it's no reaction. So 5 problems for there. Again, please, I'm going to encourage you to get a partner and work through this with a partner. That does not mean copy and paste, but this does mean work with a partner. There is a completely fully worked out example up here with text version of the workout. I will also post a video of me walking through this exact same problem, this number 1 here, so they can kind of see where this comes from, so I can explain it as well. Last thing that's in our assignment here, actually there'll be 2 other things. Last thing that's in here, you'll see this thing right here called solubility rules. This is a reference page that you'll need to use kind of throughout this particular unit. So you can print it out if you want to, or just keep it up on the screen. The part that you need is actually the left side, the solubility rules side. We will not be using the activity series side of this thing. So you just need the left side of this. General rules for solubility of ionic compounds is up at the top. And then there's a little bit of hints down at the bottom. That's kind of my narrative that's added onto that. So with this, you need to use this. You don't need to memorize this. This is how you know whether something forms a precipitate or not. And I'll talk about this in one of the other videos, the 2 lesson videos that are on there, talks about how to use this. But again, this particular reference sheet, have it out as you're doing your work. Because either print it or just have it up on your screen or have it on your phone or whatever you want to do. But this is kind of like a reference, like a periodic table, where you don't have to memorize this. You just need to know how to use it. So again, there it is up there. If you Google solubility rules, you'll find lots of different formats of this thing on the internet as well. So I like this one because it's fairly condensed. It's a little bit easy to use. So this is the one I typically use. So the last thing, and it's not posted up here yet. So I think I've gone through all the stuff that's in our 4-day unit here. There's your 2 video lessons that's on there. There's the solubility rules that are mentioned in those video lessons, so have that open. There's the big assignment. That is the big assignment, and that's what the assessment is going to be based on, is that thing. The review videos, again, is just review videos. If there's things that you were weak on or want to go back and visit, you're welcome to do that. And then there's the standard that kind of wraps up everything. So again, the assignment, writing ionic equations, is a part of the standard, and then the standard also has a couple other little sentences in there about kind of summarizing it it. And the summarizing it, I don't know if you've noticed this, the summarizing it that you do in the standard is a lot like what I'm going to ask you to do on the assessment, the last part of the assessment where you've written that equation to kind of explain your thinking. That's kind of what the other part of the standard, the 3.0, is on there. There will be one other thing that you'll end up having to do, I think, if I can make this work. So well, fingers crossed. We're going to try to do a lab where I'm going to go into school probably tomorrow. It's like 1:30 for me right now, maybe this afternoon. And I'm going to try to actually kind of show you one of these examples for real. So you can kind of actually work your way through it with a real example, not just a worksheet kind of version of it. I've been trying to find some good simulations. If any of you find a good simulation online, please let me know and I'll give you extra credit for it, because I have not been able to find a decent one that's free that seems to work on student platforms. So if you find one, let me know. But I've been trying to find a way for you to kind of see what this looks like as opposed to just like listen to me talk about it. So there you go. That is the overview of what's up, what's due. Big assignment, the writing ionic equations. Smaller assignment is going to be the standard that goes along with that. You've got your 2 video lessons that'll kind of lead you through there. I will post an additional video that goes that walks you through that example and shows you how to use the solubility rules at the same time. So there you go. This video is plenty long, but it gives you kind of an overview of what this particular unit is. It's a short one in terms of days, but it is kind of intense. So give yourself some time. Don't procrastinate on this. Kind of work through it, visit it. We'll post some office hours later on in this week so we can get together and talk about how to do this. So there you go. Please don't freak out. It's fine. It's going to take you a couple minutes to get your kind of brain turned back on. So there you go. Welcome back to semester 2 of chemistry. It's good to see you guys. And please reach out anytime you need anything from me. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys soon.